Welcome back to Crux Stationalis. Today we head to the Roman Station Church of Santi Apostoli, the church dedicated to the 12 Holy Apostles. I invite you to subscribe to the channel to become part of our community and to like this video and share with your family and friends. Let's explore Santi Apostoli. Santi Dodici Apostoli, the Church of the 12 Holy Apostles, commonly known simply as Santi Apostoli, is a 6th century Roman Catholic parish and titular church and minor basilica of Rome. Dedicated originally to St. James and St. Philip, whose remains are kept here in this crypt, it later was dedicated to all apostles. Today, the basilica is under the care of the conventual Franciscans, whose general house is adjacent to this building. Built by Pope Pelagius I to celebrate the victory of Narses, the general of the Emperor Justinian over the Ostrogoths, and dedicated by Pope John III to St. James and St. Philip the Apostle, the basilica is listed as Titulus Sanctorum Apostolorum in the Acts of the Synod of 499. Santi Apostoli was ruined by the earthquake in the year 1348 and was left abandoned. In 1417, Pope Martin V, whose Colonna family owned the adjacent Palazzo Colonna, restored the church, while the facade was built at the end of the same century by Baccio Pontelli. The church was frescoed by Malozzo da Forlì, whose wall paintings at Santi Apostoli were renowned for their innovative techniques of foreshortening and came to be regarded as Malozzo's masterpiece. In Malozzo's Ascension of Christ, this foreshortening made it appear as though Christ was punching through the ceiling as he ascended into heaven. Here we find ourselves at the tomb of St. Philip and St. James in the Confessio, or this crypt chapel. The Confessio was created in the late 19th century as a result of an archaeological excavation in 1873, which discovered the original crypt. The remains of this show it to have been at a slight angle to the major axis of the present church, and to have had a U-shaped plan. At the nave end was a small aisled hall with 3 pillars on each side. At the curved end, there were 2 staircases leading down from the main church, and wrapped around the curve was an ambulatory, or passage through which pilgrims could file to venerate the shrine of the 2 apostles, which was in a little niche halfway along. During the excavation, the relics of St. James and St. Philip were rediscovered in their original 6th century altar shrine. This was a low stone plinth on a square plan, topped by a large slab which had a Greek cross carved in relief on it. Raising this slab revealed a small square cavity in which the relics were found. They were not left in this original spot, but moved to a new shrine after the crypt was reconstructed, which was not built entirely to its original plan. But architectural remains from the earlier layout are still visible. The wall frescoes you have seen are reproductions of catacomb paintings, mostly inspired by those to be found in the catacombs of Domitilla. As you walk around this crypt, you'll see signs which say the frescoes are not original and the inscriptions are copies. But to reassure us, this sign says that the corpora sanctorum retinet veneranda sepulchra. The venerable sepulchres retain the bodies of the saints. Most prominently, St. James and St. Philip, 2 apostles. Now we head up to the nave of the church, where we see the new series of paintings. In the sanctuary, we see the fall of Lucifer and the fallen angels, defeated by St. Michael the Archangel. The 18-meter wide nave has 6 massive arcade piers, 3 on each side. Each has a pair of ribbed Corinthian pilasters supporting the entablature over the arcade. The nave ceiling is barrel vaulted with lunette windows inserted. The fresco was completed by Giovan Battista Gaudi, nicknamed Baciccia. It was painted in 1707, only 2 years before he died, and although impressive, cannot be ranked with his earlier work at the Gesù. It depicts the triumph of the Order of St. Francis. And here we enter the Chapel of the Crucifixion, which is to the right of the sanctuary and is in the style of a miniature basilica with a nave and aisles. The 8 spirally fluted columns are probably originally from the 6th century church. The wall frescoes are by Domenico Bruschi from the year 1875. They depict scenes from the life of St. Francis, and the pilasters show him and St. Anthony of Padua. And on the floor, we see the entrance to the crypt for the Tertiary Franciscans, the Third Order Franciscans. For a short time, the basilica housed the tomb of Michelangelo before his remains were transported to the Basilica of Santa Croce in Florence. Upon the death of James Francis Edward Stuart in 1766, his body lay in state here before he was buried with his wife at St. Peter's Basilica. And as you just saw, the tomb of Pope Clement XIV, who was also a cardinal priest of this titular church. Thank you for joining us today at Crux Stationalis. Tomorrow we head on off to St. Peter's Basilica yet again. We will explore the Piazza of St. Peter's and speak about Ember Days and the relic of the Lance of St. Longinus. I'll see you tomorrow.